Welcome to the comment section, bringing you the best comments from across social media platforms.
You guys, I was supposed to go on Twitter and let them know, but I was moving. So Justin Ass is still MIA. We don't know where the fuck he is. But the whole get you got. Because are we listening to bloggers or are we not? Because the Shade Room is a blog, correct? Okay. Well, anyway, a statement was given to the Shade Room. And then fast forward, TMZ updated the story. The family of Justin has not filed a missing persons report. So the LAPD don't need to look for somebody that their family is not even fucking worried about. So let's nip in the bud that Justin is not lost. He's not missing. He just apparently does not want to come and testify. So the prosecution is asking, well, can we maybe bring him in later? Or, you know, can we still try to locate him and shit like that? And so we'll see what the answer is on that. But they wanted to bring up Officer Cabral. Now, Officer Cabral was one of the first people that came through as a witness, and she testified that she was on the scene. She's the one who handcuffed Kelsey and shit like that. For whatever dumbass reason, the prosecution wants to show us footage from two different angles, okay? The body cam from her shit, and then the body cam from someone else. There were things that were redacted, which I felt like, what the hell is it redacted for? Let us tell everything. But anyway, it was ruled that we can see both of the videos with the redactions. And so, you know, it was about, you know, well, what about when this was said and that was said? And I just feel like that was kind of suppressed. I don't feel like the defense is really getting the opportunity to argue very important things, because, I mean, every time they say something of value, it turns into, well, let's stop that, okay? Hold on. Let me pin this, bitch. Thank you. So, moving along, there was also a concern raised, and it was brought up in court about a juror. If anybody is keeping up with social media, there is someone who came up here last week who went on social media and said, you know, a juror was in an elevator with Tory. And so really people are trying to make something fetch, you know, you're trying to make fetch happen, but it really don't happen. Okay. At the end of the day, these people need to have provisions made. This is a public space, and you might end up on the elevator with somebody. You might end up in a stairwell with somebody. You might end up in the bathroom with somebody. At the end of the day, y'all need to keep them in a particular place. Make sure y'all have cars set up for these people. If y'all don't want any instance of them quite possibly being around particular people, then make sure that they don't. So that's something that the court needs to be paying attention to. Nothing will be found from that, and that is not even something to talk about. I'll let y'all know any updates on that. Next, 11:10, we can finally get started. Kathy Ta calls up Sandra Cabral again, okay? They said, per your initial contact, it's fair to say that everyone was handcuffed, correct? She said, yes. They said, were you responsible for handcuffing anyone in particular? She said, yes, Kelsey. They asked her about the state of Kelsey at that time. She said that she was distraught and crying and laying down on the ground, facing down. And then they said, we got her up, and then we walked her over to the sidewalk. They said we had everyone exit out of the vehicle and we patted them down. But because everybody had a particular person, you know, to tend to, my person was Kelsey. So they said, and what about Megan? They said Megan was bleeding and was walked to the ambulance. And they said, did Kelsey try to make contact with Megan? They said, yes, that Kelsey was crying and she said, are you okay? So they get the video queued up and they pass out these transcripts, and the footage is of the body cam footage. So I just want to make a mental note that Megan is doing a lot of fucking walking. Her ass then walked out the back of the car, backed up, dropped down, got her eagle on, got back up, then they handcuffed her ass, put her on the sidewalk. She done got her ass back up, and then walked her to the ambulance. That's a lot for somebody who done got shot. okay? And their feet. Moving along. Kelsey was on the ground crying and talking about, please don't put your knee in my back, on some George Floyd shit. And then so they helped Kelsey up. They walked her to the sidewalk. I don't know if anybody else heard it, but you know I'm listening. What was said was, are you hurt? Kelsey responded, no ma'am. Okay? So he's supposed to have all these goddamn injuries and shit. Kelsey said, no, I'm not hurt. And then at another point, because, you know, the footage kind of jumps a little bit, she said, I'm fine. It comes back in with Kelsey saying, I'm fine. And then she said, Megan, are you okay? And so they said, did you review the footage from the victim walking by? Cabral said, yes. So now we get this second video that is coming from the body cam footage of another officer named Officer Walker. And so in this video, we can see Megan on the ground, and then we see her getting helped up, aided to get walked over to the ambulance. And so at first we weren't hearing a damn thing. The audio was gone, so we was like, child, what is this? But anyway, they said at some point, did you illuminate anything on her, on Kelsey? Now y'all know illuminate. We're talking about a light. Did you see anything, like what's going on? And so they said, yeah, I did illuminate her, and I saw blood dripping down her. Now, did she say chin or leg? Child, what? It had to be the damn leg. They said, while we're viewing the video, I saw what could be an injury in person, because she already testified that Kelsey had no injuries, mind you. Now, Kelsey the one supposed to got hair pulled out her damn head, knocked upside the head, pulled by her goddamn neck like a rag doll, and then tossed her on the side. But she said she didn't have no injuries. But today, after just miraculously looking over goddamn footage, oh yeah, she had some blood dripping down her leg. And so they said in the video, you could hear her saying, Megan, are you okay? And then she said, yeah. And then she said that she was okay. They said, and you saw that the victim was limping and bleeding. She said, yes. They said, would you describe the vehicle as a big vehicle? They said, yeah. They said, with a step rail? She said, I'm not sure about that. So they showed her a video of the vehicle, and they showed her the step rail. It was an Escalade, if anybody wants to go and make reference. So they said, aside from that, if you're a if you're a shorter person, they could stand on that. And, you know, she was implying that, you know, basically, could Tory get up there and do it? And there was an objection, and that objection was sustained, because that's absolutely fucking ridiculous that you would ask a question like that. Kelsey is 4'11". So if we want to play this game of who could have gotten on the step stool or on the step rail, who needed it more? Her or him? Okay. But anyway, they rephrased the question because there was an objection. Could this step elevate a shorter person? Ain't that what the fuck a step does? Yeah, okay. So they showed another video. And in this 2-second video, we see Kelsey's foot. And they said, is this when you saw the blood dripping down? And she said, yes. Okay. And so that was it on their behalf. So cross-examination. George gets up and he says, you know, the people were cuffed and then they were taken to the sidewalk, correct? Yes. They said standing in the cuffs near each other, right? Yeah. They said Tory was next to Kelsey, right? Yeah. They said, and you were with Kelsey, right? Yeah. They said, so you heard the conversation between them. She didn't hear it. Officer Cabral says, no, I didn't hear it. I wasn't paying attention to that. They said, but you were brought here to talk about the footage that you went over, correct? She said, yes, but I don't recall that. They said, was there an Officer Walker there? She said, she don't know. They said, you don't know. So, babe, if you're here to go over this footage and you've gone over it, you don't remember nothing but what benefits the prosecution? So they go up to the bench and they talk. When they come back, George says, you reviewed your body cam footage, correct? Yes. They said, you looked at 2 different clips. Those are the clips that we watched. She said, yes. They said, and you did that, you know, to be neutral, correct? She said, yes. They said, when you were next to Kelsey, did you hear a conversation between her and Tory? She said, she don't know. They said, did you listen to the body cam footage? Yes. So she said, I listened to it, but I was only paying attention to Kelsey and the victim. They said, did you hear my client ask if Kelsey was okay? They said, no. They said, what about a conversation between them? She said, I don't know. They said, was Tory distraught and upset? She said she couldn't gauge how Tory felt about anything because Tory had his head down, okay? And she couldn't even corroborate that they had talked. She said, but all of them were right there next to each other. And Kelsey was your person, right? They said, yes, okay? Hold on. Let's get you out of here. Thank you. I just blocked somebody right. So they said, did you see Tory's head down? She said, yeah. But I couldn't see his expressions. I don't know how, you know what I'm saying, he may have felt. They said, did you hear him talk to Walker or, Kelsey? She said, no. They said, did you speak to prosecutors before this? She said, yeah. They said, were you in any way told about my line of questioning and I may ask you particular things about what you heard? She said, no. He said, are you being honest? She said, yeah. They said, how long were you standing out there on this scene? She said, 20 to 30 minutes. They said, you were on the scene for 20 to 30 minutes and you ain't seen nothing that Tory did. You can't corroborate anything as pertains to him. No. They said, did you see my client look upset? No. How about happy? She said, I didn't see. She said, how far apart were Kelsey and Tory, for example? She said, a couple of feet. And they said, and you were in between the two of them, correct? Yeah. They said, so you looked at the body cam footage and you standing right there, but you still can't tell us what may have happened or anything about his demeanor. She said, no, I saw him, but his head was down. And then they said, so you never heard him say Mego, not even Megan, a little nickname he had for her. Mego, you gonna be okay? You never heard him say that? Objection. Come back. Are you being honest? She says, yes. We done with this shit. Next, we bring in Jody Little. Now, Jody Little was here because she was speaking to the September 14th interview. You know, because Kelsey went rogue and said, I lied. And they don't want to accept it so bad that they keep pulling this lady in. Now, last week, I thought that she was endearing. And I thought that, you know, she was a neutral party. Even though I knew what she was arguing. You know, I felt like, you know, cool. You know, that's what she heard. She was present. That's fine. Today, she changed my whole outlook on her. And I was very disturbed by the way that she behaved today. Just to say the least. So, anyway, the new old witness, Jody Little, come up there. And so they said, Kathy says, did you review a rap song by Kelsey? She said, yeah. They say this is a song released on November 20th, 2020, right? She said, yeah. They said, is this song called Bustin' Back? She said, yeah. And does it start with who I'm taking shots at? Bitch, I'm busting you. They said, yeah, that's the song. So they pulled up the lyrics. They pull up the lyrics that start with never been a jealous friend. And then the line ends with put a muzzle on your friends. Y'all acting like some crash dummies. So y'all go look at the lines. I believe it's like 1 through 10. But the line that starts with never been jealous and ends with put a muzzle on the bitches. They said, is this the song? She said, yeah. And then they go to the lines, who shot you? And then they said, you know on that hook, she was like, who shot you? Bitch, I'm busting you. All that bullshit. They said, that's from another verse, correct? She said, yeah. They said, does it appear to be a song against Kelsey? Okay. And so, a song against Megan, I'm sorry. Yeah. So then they go to cross. They said, under cross-examination, you agree that there's more to these lyrics than just, you know, that one line about the hush money and Megan. And they said, yeah. They said, for example, lying to the DA, saying that the chain got snatched. You recognize those lyrics? She said, yes. They said, is there a mention of Desiree Perez? Immediately, this woman's demeanor changes, and the woman that remembered so much, you know, it was crazy to everybody that Kelsey couldn't remember shit, but now she's gotten the same type of amnesia. They said, is there a mention of Desiree Perez in this song? The same song she had to go over again to come up here today. And she said, I have to check. Okay. They said, is there a line about a sex tape that can drop? This woman said that doesn't sound familiar. Now, one of the most damning parts of this song is her saying, Dad said that if I spoke that a sex tape could drop. You lying to the DA saying I took some hush money, got my chain snatched, all these different things, but you just so happen to not remember these things that you went over this morning. So she said, that doesn't sound familiar. So now I'm looking at her ass sideways. And so then they show her the lyrics. They said, does it mention Desiree Perez now that you've looked at the lyrics? She said, yes. They said, do you know Desiree Perez? No. They said, is there a threat that Kelsey speaks on? After showing it to her about the sex tape line, she says yes. But there was a lot of blowback. It wasn't a simple answer to the question. It was a lot of, well, I don't know. Let me look. I did bullshit. So they said, did she say we were fighting because you sucked dick behind my back? And she didn't want to answer that. She eventually had to say yes. That man had to ask her two or three times, like, do you remember, like, this line that she was sucking dick behind her back? And so she said, I didn't commit the song to memory. Can I look at the lyrics? Like, we were literally in court with this man asking her about sucking dick. And so they was like, so you see the line about this happening, like that she was sucking dick behind his back? And she said, yeah. They said, so she called Megan a liar about other things, correct? Okay, this lady is not answering the questions. My face look greasy, but don't mind it. They said, prior to testimony, you worked for the DA, right? And you looked at the transcripts, correct? She said, yeah. They said, so you see her calling Megan a liar. She said, I need a line to the song because I don't know what you're talking about. Now she playing crazy. Child, he say, forget it. He done with her. So cross-examination. Here go Kathy. The lie was about the hush money, wasn't it? She said, yes. He got back up and crossed and said, so the only mention of lying was the hush money? She said, yeah. He said, that's it? She ain't answered before. He said, you agree that there are more, lies. She said, well, I can't because I don't know the line. So he showed her the line. Everybody go to line 24 on the damn song. And then they said, Yeah, I can see that there were more lies. So, okay, yes. They said, is there any other mention of lying that doesn't say anything about the hush money? And they showed her the lyrics. And then they showed the lyrics 10 through 11. And they said, you agreed that the hush money line is 10 through 11, right? That was a lie. Yeah. They said, okay, let's look at line 24. The line 24 said, are you lying to your label? Do they really know who shot you? They said, do you agree that line 24 is a lie? She said, they said, was there more than one lie? She said, it doesn't say anything about hush money, though. It doesn't say anything about hush money. Like, just playing so damn stupid. That's not what that man is asking you, and you know that. Okay. So, like, she was playing stupid. They said, so you spoke with Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kelly is the witness that's going to tell y'all what he saw. If y'all remember the transcripts that I read from December 2021, you'll recall that he saw a young lady get out of the vehicle from the back seat, go to the front seat, and commence to whooping that ass. So, they said, you spoke with Mr. Kelly, right? Yes. They said, and you're supposed to be neutral, correct? Yes. They said, you know he's an independent witness, and you went after my people, spoke with him, correct? She said, yes. They approached the bench. They come back. They said, Miss Little, thank you. And, you know, we're going to call Mr. Kelly in today, so we may need you to come back. Kathy Todd said, at any point, does Kelsey say that she shot Megan in the record? She says, no. And then cross-examination, George comes back and says, but you remember that, right? And then she said, yes. So it was very odd that she remembered particular things. And there's going to be an issue that will be raised, or the issue was raised, but an objection was called, where what was said was, you awoke to gunshots, right? That is not what Mr. Kelly said. Mr. Kelly says he heard arguing, and that he was awoken by the arguing. He went onto his balcony, and then he saw certain things take place. There was some, you know, quite possible leading that could have happened, okay? And so that's what they were trying to get at, but it got cut off. And then they said they would like to speak to juror number 39, okay? Juror number 39. And so they stayed behind, and we were dismissed for the time being. So when I said it was an explosive morning, I mean it was explosive in the way that this prosecution is looking like, you know, everybody y'all talk to seems to remember everything that benefits you. But when it comes to other people, y'all ass got amnesia. And y'all wanted to give Kelsey so much flack for how she felt and what she said. But she is not the only person. She is not the only person that's gotten on the stand and said, I don't remember. When you have to stop and say, are you being neutral? Because you know somebody playing in your face, that's an issue in itself. So that is where we are. We will come back from lunch. We will finally, I hope that the defense, I don't even hope they rest their case. I hope they fucking bury it. I am sick and tired of the prosecution. I don't want to see Kathy Todd come up with another human and ask them any damn thing. I want the defense to bring their people up. I want them to answer their questions. And I want to watch the prosecution continue to try to get some water because their asses is drowning just like they've been doing all last week. So we'll talk about that after lunch. Go back and rewatch this. And then that's that, okay? So thank you for checking in with me, and I'll talk to you guys later, all right? Bye.
Here's your Monday update. Prosecutors just tried to charge Tory with 2 new felony counts of intimidating a witness. 1 for intimidating Meg, 2 for intimidating Kelsey. They want these charges added to the criminal complaint, and they want these charges to go to the jury at this trial. The judge said, what? Hold up now. We just finished pretty much all the testimony. By the way, there's about 1 day of testimony left, maybe 2. And you guys want to add 2 new counts for what? Based on what? How long have you had this information? They said, well, we know that he's been threatening to pay them $1 million, and we had that information a while ago, but we didn't know how they were going to testify. The judge said, no, that's not how this works. You cannot add these charges to this trial right now. It would be so unfair to the jury to hear, to the defendant to hear that this is what you're trying to do. So the judge denied it. If they want to charge him with intimidating a witness, they can do that with a separate case. It's not going to happen on this case. As to the rest of the trial, testimony will conclude probably tomorrow, maybe the day after. Closing statements coming on Wednesday or Thursday. We should get a verdict. I don't know how long it's going to take the jury, but this is going to be given to the jury by Thursday or Friday. More updates to come. Wow. Meg's hairstylist, EJ, testified. Let me catch you up on what went on with him. It was a very, very interesting testimony from him. First of all, I'm 6'4". This guy's like 6'5". Huge presence, heels. He's like clicking, stomping through the courtroom. He had beautiful flowing hair down to like his belly button. bright pink suit on, amazing presence. And then the scene that he walked into, so we had lunch and then we come back from lunch and like 30, 45 minutes goes by, the judge isn't there, the lawyers aren't there, everybody's very confused what's going on. Well, what's going on is nobody had ever heard what EJ had to say before. And so the lawyers and the judge were in the back going over with EJ to make sure his testimony is appropriate to present to the jury. Now, when he comes out, the defense attorney presents him as their witness. He's the defense's first witness. The defense attorney explains to the jury that nobody has ever spoken to him. The police have never interviewed him. No one knows what he's going to say. There was a moment where the question is asked to EJ, hey, at some point in the night, did something happen to Meg that gave you concern? And EJ lets out a big sigh. And he's like, yes. And we were on the edge of our seat. Like, what is he about to say? And he's like, her wig started slipping. And then he's like, yo, her wig started slipping. I went to her, I was like, yo, we got to fix this wig. We tried to fix it, and then it started slipping some more. We went to the bathroom. In the bathroom, we realized this wig cannot be fixed, and we were ready to go. The rest of his testimony, let me take you what he went. First off, amazing witness, great presence, believe everything he said. I said that about Kelsey in the morning. By the afternoon, nobody believed anything Kelsey said. The whole day, EJ testified. The whole day, everybody believed what everything EJ said, if you ask me. So, EJ testified. They get there. They check into their room. Kelsey goes, starts playing Pong. Meg changes, comes down. She's playing Pong. Everybody starts drinking. Defense attorney, hey, how much did they drink? He's like, a lot. Like, how much? And he's like, well, EJ, I remember at some point thinking to myself, damn, that's a lot of bottles these people have gone through. And the defense attorney established that there was about 6 to 8 people there who had drank almost 6 to 7 bottles, according to EJ. On cross-examination, the prosecutor came out and he's like, well, how many people were there? Were some of them, wasn't Odell Beckham Jr. there? He's a big guy. And EJ was like, nah, BJ wasn't drinking. And so it kind of killed the prosecutor's point. Look, EJ established they're very drunk. The other big point that EJ established, he said that Kelsey packed her own bag. He said that he had seen previously in Meg's luggage and her items things for personal protection like mace, a taser, and what looked like a handgun. He didn't see it that night, or he doesn't recall whether he saw it that night, but before he had seen it, he established that Kelsey packed her own bag and that he moved Kelsey's bag from his car to the trunk of Tory's car. And then the defense established that if you look at where the bag is, Kelsey's bag, when the police pulled over the car, the bag is not in the trunk anymore. The bag has been moved from the trunk, from the over the third row, and it's now in the middle of the bench seat. So, question, did somebody move that bag? Did the gun come out of the bag? That's where the defense is going with this. The rest of EJ's testimony, he basically said that, there was this issue with Tory and Kylie, and it eventually gets Meg to be irritated, not acting like herself. He also explained that Corey Gamble was there, suggesting that, it's time to go, and that's when he felt a little uncomfortable, like, we need to get going. There was a laugh out loud moment in the courtroom when he was like, the defense was like, why did you feel like you needed to go? He's like, I don't want to, I felt like we were the black people and we were the last people there, and so I didn't want to be the last black people there. The whole courtroom laughed. I laughed. EJ was, like I said, just a tremendous witness. And the rest of the testimony, it was just tit for tat. The defense would bring something up, the prosecution would bring something up. So, the prosecution's like, oh, did you see Kelsey with a gun in her bikini bottoms? And EJ was like, no. So the defense attorney would go up and be like, yo, did you see Tory with a gun in his swimming trunks? And EJ was like, he wasn't wearing swimming trunks, he was wearing drawers. And the defense attorney's like, he was wearing what? He's like, he's wearing drawers. And he's like, what do you mean? And he's like boxer short, like drawers. There was a point about cooking, and the the defense attorney was bringing out all of the lies in Meg's statement, and so then the prosecution tried to get EJ in a line. He's like, oh, wasn't Meg cooking? And EJ's like, yeah, Meg was cooking. He's like, oh, wasn't she cooking nachos? And EJ's like, no, I remember tacos. And he's like, oh, are you sure it was taco night, are you? Like, oh my God, like, what are we talking about? It's another part. The prosecutor is like, oh, they were very drunk. Well, are they happy drunks or are they mean drunks? And EJ's like, well, what do you mean? Like, what does that mean? And then it really blew up in the prosecutor's face, because EJ's like, well, they're party starters, they can be happy, but Meg can also go left. Meg can be very wild, she can be not herself. Kelsey can be like the Tasmanian devil, she can cuss you out, she can really start barking. And, if you ask me, listening to that part, it was like, okay, yeah. Ultimately, EJ made for an entertaining witness, other than the fact that he established that Meg lied about things or is not being completely truthful about things, like, why she didn't want to leave whatever. But the big thing that he established was that Kelsey packed her own bag, that he put the bag in the trunk. Why, during the time that they moved this car, with the bag gone from the trunk to the middle seat? That sounds very interesting to me. That's a good point established by the defense. All right, subscriber-only post. Here's the details that you're gonna like. All right, number one, they're still looking for the security guard. The prosecution said, Judge, we're looking for him. We think we can get him. Give us another day. Meg's security guard still might testify. Number two, there's an issue with the juror. In the morning session, the prosecution raised to the judge that, hey, we've got an issue with the juror. We might not be able to have this person go forward, da-da-da-da-da. And then the judge, right before lunch, took that juror and the lawyers and they went to the back. I will tell you this about my opinion. I think the prosecution would love if that juror had an issue and can't continue. I think the defense will be very sad if that juror has an issue and can't continue. We will see what happens. Stay tuned.
I can't understand why y'all are caping for Tory Lanez. You don't know nothing about this man to establish his character, but y'all would die on any hill for any nigga over believing a woman any day. You will discuss her sexuality, her behavior, her supposed level of maturity, what you think you know about her character, and what you do know is that she's already lost so much. When you do know she's lost the people that typically guided her through decision making, the people that would have held her hand and guided her through this, but somehow still managed to wrap up Grammys, BET Awards, VMAs, AMAs, NAACP Image Awards, iHeartRadio Awards, and hell, even People's Choice Awards when her own people refused to choose her. Talk to him! And now she having to deal with gas station niggas heckling her outside the courthouse while being forced to wear her vulnerability on her sleeve while it plays out on the stage. That girl says she don't want to live, all for just speaking up for herself. Dr. Erica Richards found that minority women are at least twice as likely to experience an episode of major depression than men. If I told you I had to overcome something to be here, would you believe it was you? Y'all thought using her sex life as a defense would be effective because most of the world assumes black women's bodies are their only source of power, but we've had to reach further inward as a means of escape for centuries, compartmentalizing and holding ourselves off somewhere deep inside in order to protect our sanity. So the real scene of subjection here is isolating that woman, whittling away at her self-sustenance for the past 2 years, forcing her innermost parts to be laid bare and subjected to a higher power. So I'm gonna tell y'all like I told y'all when I first slid this chair into a parking lot off Mapleton Parkway in Mapleton, Georgia. Take us back now. This shit ain't free. I can't protect black men at all costs when all costs includes me. And that's a wrap for 2022. Cut the camera off.
Tell us what you think down in the comment section, and don't forget to like, subscribe and share.